The Krell didn't understand mercy. In their 3,000 years of galactic dominance, they had cataloged 847 sentient species, conquered 612 of them, and enslaved the rest. They understood strength. They understood submission. But mercy? That was a concept as alien to them as their chitinous exoskeletons, were to the softer species they ruled, which is why they thought throwing the human into the pit with a Zarthok would be entertaining. Commander, Zekthar clicked his mandibles in anticipation as he gazed down into the holding cell from the observation deck. The human, designation, Marcus Chen, cargo hauler caught smuggling medical supplies to a resistance cell on Proxima 4, sat against the far wall, knees drawn to his chest. His brown eyes, those strange forward-facing predator eyes, watched the massive creature on the opposite side of the cell. The Zarthok was magnificent. 4 meters of corded muscle, razor-sharp claws that could shred duralloy plating, and a jaw that could crush starship hull fragments. Its 6 eyes glowed amber in the dim light, fixed on the human with an intensity that promised violence. The Krell had captured it on Theta Draconis III, and it had killed 12 handlers before they'd managed to sedate it. The human will last 5 minutes, perhaps, Zekthar said to his second. The Zarthok hasn't eaten in 3 days. A generous estimate, Commander, his subordinate replied. I give him 2. They had both underestimated Marcus Chen by a considerable margin. The first thing Marcus did was something no prey species in the Krell's experience had ever done when faced with an apex predator. He didn't run. He didn't scream. He sat perfectly still and made eye contact. The Zarthok snarled, a sound like tearing metal, and took a step forward. Its claws scraped against the floor, leaving deep grooves in the composite material. Marcus remained motionless another step. The creature's hot breath now reached him, a mixture of sulfur and decay. Still, Marcus didn't move. He simply watched, his breathing steady, his posture relaxed despite the fear that surely coursed through his mammalian veins. The Zarthok paused. In its limited consciousness, confusion warred with hunger. Prey ran, prey screamed. Prey made itself small. This creature did none of those things. Then Marcus did something even stranger. He began to speak. Hey there, big guy, he said softly, his voice calm and steady. You're scared too, aren't you? Yeah, I can see it. They hurt you. Took you from your home. The Zarthok tilted its massive head, processing the sounds. It couldn't understand the words, but something in the tone made it hesitate. I'm not your enemy, Marcus continued, slowly extending his hand, palm up, in a gesture of offering. I know what it's like to be in a cage, to be afraid, to be alone. Up in the observation deck, Zekthar's mandibles stopped clicking. What is it doing? He hissed. Marcus kept talking, kept his hand extended. The Zarthok approached slowly now, curiosity replacing hunger. It sniffed at the human's hand, its nostrils flaring. Then it did something that made every Krell observer freeze in shock. It sat down. Over the next several hours, Marcus and the Zarthok existed in an uneasy detente. The human found a small water dispenser built into the wall, meant for cleaning, not drinking, and discovered that by manipulating it carefully, he could create a small pool. He gestured to the creature, inviting it to drink. The Zarthok watched for a long moment, then approached and lapped at the water with a long, dark tongue. Marcus smiled. See, not so bad, right? He found where the Krell had thrown in what they considered rations, protein blocks that were barely edible. Marcus took one, bit off a small piece, chewed, and grimaced. Then he tossed the rest to the Zarthok, who caught it mid-air and swallowed it in one gulp. By the time the station's lights dimmed to simulate night, something remarkable had happened. The Zarthok had curled its massive body around Marcus, who sat leaning against its warm bulk, one hand resting on its thick hide. They wanted us to kill each other, Marcus murmured. But that's not who we are, is it? You're not a monster. You're just lost. Me too, friend. Me too. The Zarthok rumbled, a sound almost like a purr. When the lights came up to simulate morning, Commander Zekthar returned to the observation deck expecting to find a human corpse. Instead, he found something that would shake the foundations of Krell understanding. Marcus Chen stood in the center of the cell, his hand resting on the Zarthok's shoulder. The creature stood beside him, not as a predator stalking prey, but as a guardian protecting something precious. When Krell guards entered the cell to retrieve the human's body, the Zarthok roared and positioned itself between them and Marcus. The guards retreated immediately. Impossible, Zekthar whispered, but it wasn't impossible. It was simply human. Humans, the Krell would later learn, had evolved alongside predators, had domesticated wolves into dogs, had befriended creatures that should have been their killers. They possessed something the Krell, for all their strength, had never developed: empathy. They could look at a monster and see a frightened animal. They could extend mercy to something designed to destroy them. They could build bridges where others saw only gulfs. Marcus looked up at the observation window, knowing the Krell were watching. He smiled, not with triumph, but with tired compassion, and said words that would be translated into 1,000 languages across the galaxy. "We're all just trying to survive. Even you." The Zarthok pressed its massive head against Marcus's shoulder, amber eyes fixed on the retreating Krell guards. It had found something in that cell that no predator should be able to find. A friend, and the human in a cage designed for death, had found something the Krell could never take from him: his humanity. By morning, they hadn't just survived. They had proven that the strongest force in the universe isn't domination, it's compassion.